Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about the 26 books that I want to read in 2026. It is December 2nd right now, so the year is not yet over, but as of right now in 2025, I have read 32 books. My goal was 30 books, and I actually finally broke my goal of reading 30 books. I feel like I've done that goal for the last couple of years, and finally I've completed it. I will put my Goodreads in the description down below so you can check out and be updated on all my reading. Sorry if you can hear my dog chewing on his bone in the background. It's his world and we're just in it. I am not a TBR person because I'm a very big mood reader, so I don't set up monthly TBRs or anything like that, but I do like creating a yearly list of books that I would like to complete without putting a lot of pressure on myself about it, of course, because then I get overwhelmed and stressed, and I want reading to be a hobby for me, not something that feels forced. And I just like to make these lists to keep these books in mind so I can remember which ones I really am looking out to read. So I have created a list of 26 books of 2026 that I would like to complete. The first one is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I read The Woman by Kristen Hanna recently, actually, and it was my first read by her, and I fell in love with it. It was like 4.5 stars for me. It wasn't quite 5, but I was definitely tearing up, super emotional, loved the read, so I would love to try another one of her books. Next book is The Hotel Nantucket by Ellen Hildebrand. I have yet to read an Ellen Hildebrand book, and that is why I put this on the list. I truly don't know much about her books, but they intrigue me so much from what people say about them, so of course I had to add it to the list. The third book on the list is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. So I read ACOTAR I think over a year ago, and I really did like it. I really would love to jump into another series of hers. All right, hot take. I'm not a huge Emily Henry fan. I read Beach Read by her, and I was not a fan. I did not get the hype at all. So I have decided to add another Emily Henry book onto the list, and that is Book Lovers. The reason is because I want to give her another chance. I don't want to just base her books off of the one book I read by her that I did enjoy. And I actually do have Book Lovers on my shelf back there, so since it's also in my physical TBR, I feel like I really should read it and give her another try. Number 5 is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. When I first got back into reading like 3-4 years ago, one of the first books I read was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. It hooked me. I bawled like a baby at night while I'm reading it in bed. Such a good book. And actually I kind of would like to reread it one day, but I loved her writing so much. And I actually have read another book of hers, I believe it's called One True Love, and I really did like it. Although I've tried to start other ones of hers and haven't been fascinated enough to keep reading. But with the hype Atmosphere got this year in 2025, I need to give it a whirl and try her writing again. All right, One Dark Window by Rachel Gellig. I feel like this is an obvious. Everyone talked about it. Everyone's obsessed with it. I want to get more into the fantasy world. The only fantasy I've really read would be ACOTAR. There might be a couple other like light fantasy books I've read. One, Our Infinite Delights? Our Infinite Fates. I read Our Infinite Fates and I really did like that. So I don't have a lot of fantasy history, but I really would love to embark in the fantasy world in 2026, so that is why I added that book. And also it's just a little duology. I feel like that's really realistic to complete. This next one is probably the most intimidating book, even more intimidating than Throne of Glass, but it is 11/22/63 by Stephen King. I'm just gonna grab it. Look at this big boy. Like, this book is so big. It is 849 pages long. I've read ACOTAR. I can read a big book. That's not my issue. Well, okay, I'm lying. That's kind of my issue. 1, I have not read a Stephen King book. 2, is it like mainly historically fiction? I don't really know. It's giving that for me. And that can be hard for me to become interested in, but I hear there's slight romance in this. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. But people rave about this. And if people are raving about an 800-page book, I gotta put in the work and figure out why people are raving about it. So if you don't know, it is about the assassination of JFK. It is a fiction though, I believe. I don't think it's nonfiction. But next book I have is The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. Again, I want to try to read more fantasy this year. I believe this is this a duology or a trilogy? Okay, this is actually a series. The 5th book is actually coming out August of 2026. Definitely have plenty of time to read the first 4 then. The next book I have on the list is The Wedding People by Alison Espach. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. I have been wanting to read this book for a very long time. I don't know what has stopped me from reading it. It was a big book of the year. Finally got my hands on the physical copy, and I just haven't been in the mood to read this type of book, but I do know I do want to get it read this year because I'm getting married in 2026. Granted, I don't truly think, if I heard correctly, that it's not entirely about the wedding, but like the wedding people, come on, like I feel like I need to be reading it before my wedding. All right, don't hate me that I haven't read this one, but Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Maher, maybe? I have yet to read this book. I started this probably a couple months ago. I got like 20 pages in, really was enjoying it, but I kind of just got bored. I think I was in a slump and I just haven't gone back to finish it, but I really did like it enough to go back and read it. So I definitely think this is a book that I would enjoy. So I really just wanted to put it on this list because I know I'll definitely get it done this year. I had to put another Kristen Hanna book on, Firefly Lane by her. Again, I want to read more of her books. The woman was great. So let's rack up her books, you know what I mean? Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. And with that, actually, I do have another one of her books on my list. The Caraval series, I want to read that as well. I read any of her books, and people talk about her books all the time. And that's why we are here, putting it on my list to read in 2026. I had to throw some thrillers on here. I love a good thriller, so I added We Are All Guilty Here by Karen Slaughter. I read Pretty Girls. I really enjoyed it, so I just wanted to add that one. And then I also did add The Business Trip by Jessie Garcia. This is not a super popular book that I've seen everywhere, but I've seen a couple people talk about it that intrigued me enough to put it onto my list. I have no idea what it's about, but if someone recommends me a thriller, I'm gonna want to read it. Another very popular book talk series that I have yet to read is Six of Crows. I believe that one is by Leigh Bardugo. Yes, it is by Leigh Bardugo. That's like an old series. One of the first, or duology, one of the first books I purchased like 3-4 years ago, and I still haven't read it, guys. I know. It's pretty bad. I wanted to add Dark Matter by Blake Crouch onto here because this is a genre that I've never gotten into before. Just like Project Hail Mary, I didn't add that to the list because I didn't want to like overwhelm myself with too many like sci-fi books. At least wanted to add one, and that is the lucky winner to be added to this list. Next is Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McGanfey. I'm so sorry. Why am I saying it like that? Charlotte McConaughey. I'm sorry. I'm really trying here. I don't mean to butcher it. Yeah, another big book of 2026, I feel like. No idea what it's about, but I had to put it on the list. People are talking about it everywhere. Again, if there's book recommendations, I'm adding it to my list, and I want to read it. I want to know why everyone likes it. I had to add an iconic Frederick Bachman book. I added My Friends. That came out this year. I have completed the first 2 in the Beartown series. Really enjoyed those. Not enough to read the 3rd one, but I did truly love A Man Called Uva. I bawled like a baby. 5-star read. It is a book that I continually think about all of the time. And then I did really like Anxious People, so I wanted to add one of his books onto the list. I wanted to add If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio because this is another book that I've had on my shelf for like 3-4 years. That's why it's here. This is The Names by Florence Knapp. This is I don't know if it's a newer book. Yeah, it came out in May of 2025, and I've seen a couple people talk about it, and the concept of this book sounds so good. Another book that became popular recently is Broken Country by Claire Leslie Hall. Again, there's a lot of talk about it. I want to read it. That is why I'm adding all these books to the list, obviously. I know I'm very repetitive with like why I wanted to read it, but obviously why I want to read it is because people are talking about it. Such Quiet Girls by Noelle W. Ely, possibly. This is another thriller that I wanted to add. It is on Kindle Unlimited. I have had it on my library for a very long time, so I feel like it's definitely a book that I'm interested in reading. So I have to give Frida McFadden another try. I have added Never Lie to this list. I don't love Frida McFadden. I loved The Housemaid. The second one was not that good, and I did read The Crash. Really wasn't obsessed with it. So I wanted to add Never Lie because this is one of the higher rated books on Goodreads of hers. So I just want to give her another try. I enjoyed The Housemaid, but she kind of fell off for me, but I want to give her a fair chance. My battery died, so I'm sorry if the angle's like a little different. I'd like to read Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie this year. Now this is probably actually like top 3 books that I purchased 4 years ago, and I haven't read it. I think the hype has gone away, unfortunately, but the people that still talk about it have so much passion about it, and it intrigues me so much, so that is why I added it. I want to give it a try this year. If I don't like it, I think it is time for me to pass it on and just let go of that series. But I did read the first 3 of Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh, and I feel like it's kind of the same concept where there's really not a big storyline. It's very character based, and I really have liked those books, so I don't see why I wouldn't like this series. Maybe I won't, I don't know, but I just need to try it this year because it's just been on my shelf for so long, and if I don't like it, I just need to unhaul it. The last book on my list is called Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch Albom. I haven't heard much about this book up until recently, but I know it is nonfiction, and I don't have any nonfiction on my list this year, and so I want to expand into that genre a little bit, so that is why I added it. And it looks kind of short, so I feel like a short nonfiction book is definitely achievable. So that completes my list of 26 books I want to read in 2026. Make sure to tag along to see if I complete any of these. Let me know in the comments below some of the books that you want to read in 2026, and we will chat later. Bye, guys.